Hey, Bumbiba! Welcome to Everything Aja. And if you're new here, hello. Welcome to Everything Aja. I am so excited that you are here to kick off our 5-day challenge. This is the Classroom Setup Series where I will be going live every single day this week, September 12th through the 16th at 7 o'clock p.m. Join me live as I help you create and set up your classroom in order to have success this school year in reading. So introduce yourselves down below in the chat box. Let me know what is it that you teach and where are you located. In order to kick off day one of the series, we are going to talk about getting children to actually want to read. So I know I'm ready. Let me know down below in the chat box, are you ready? This is such a hot topic, especially because children just aren't reading and they certainly aren't reading for fun. So, we are going to really dive into how to get children to actually want to read. But before we do that, let me just introduce myself. If you've never, been on here before, maybe you have and you don't even know much about me, let me just once again reintroduce myself. My name is Aja. Welcome to Everything Aja. I'm an educational consultant who has been an experienced K-5 curriculum specialist. So, what does that mean? That means for the last 6 years, I served as an administrator, a school based administrator, and I was over the kindergarten through fifth grade curriculum. So I was over everything: reading, math, science, social studies, you name it. I did it. Class sizes, the whole shebang, data driven instruction, everything. Okay, everything. That is what I did. So pretty much, it is the assistant principal over curriculum. Okay, I've spent over 10 plus years in education, all in Title One schools, both as a Title One teacher and even a Title One administrator. And of course, I have my reading endorsement in addition to being Orton Gillingham certified. I'm also certified in correcting and diagnosing mathematical practices and reading practices and behaviors. Woo! Now that I have blurted out my resume, that's a little bit about me. I am a mom of one. I have a preschool age daughter who you probably have seen on my channel in my videos. So not only do I do what I do with teachers and homeschool parents, but I also do the same thing as a mom. So you might be saying, well, what is it that you do? Well, I actually help parents and teachers manage their reading instruction. So I help you manage effective reading instruction. And that includes all the different aspects of your reading instruction, including classroom setup. So that's what we'll be going over today as I help you literally dive into how to get children to actually want to read. So now that I have blurted all that out, don't forget to introduce yourself down below in the chat box, what your name is and where are you from and what do you teach? Let me know, what do you teach? All right, so let's talk about reading, particularly independent reading. So like I stated, I help people manage all of the different aspects of reading in order to prevent burnout. In fact, teacher burnout is one of the number one causes of the teacher shortage, and that's literally what I help do. Is I help make you teach smarter and not harder. So let's talk about independent reading, because that is so important to getting children to want to read. We have to figure out this thing called independent reading. So let's chat about what is independent reading. Independent reading is simply when children choose to read books on their independent reading level and engage in reading opportunities. So that is the definition, according to Google, of independent reading. But okay, now that we understand that, why is it important? Before we dive into that, I want to know, do you already have some sort of system in place for independent reading? We are kicking off this school year, and independent reading that is a part of your reading instruction that allows you to really get children wanting to read. Um, so let me know down below if you already have a system for that. So, and y'all let me know. Can you guys just hear me? It doesn't look like it's muted. So let me know. Yeah, it looks like it's good. All right. So let me know, do you have a system already in place for independent reading? I'm dying to know because at the end of this, I hope that you have already at least thought about it and figured out, what is it that you want to do with independent reading. Because in order to get children to want to read, you have to create an opportunity for them to do so. So, let's talk about why is independent reading important. Hey, Keisha, welcome. So let's talk about why independent reading is important. Well, it's important that we get children to read independently in order for them to build stamina when it comes to reading. And also, not only does it build reading stamina, but it also helps develop positive habits. In addition to that, it builds confidence with their reading process. Children will become more fluent in the reading process. And sorry, somebody said they couldn't hear me, but it looks like it's on my end. It looks like I'm good. So I don't know why that is that nobody can hear me. Keisha, are you able to hear me? I don't know. It looks like they can hear me on my end. So you just let me know. I hope you can hear me. So maybe it's on their end. All right. So independent reading. Okay, you can hear me. All right. So it must be on their end. And I'm sorry about that if you can't hear me. Okay, so you can hear me. All right. So I don't know what's going on with her computer. I hope she's able to get that. All right. So, independent reading is important because it builds stamina, it helps develop positive habits, and it also builds confidence with the reading process. So, this is the key component of getting children to actually want to read. Because one thing about that, oh goodness, what in the world was that? One thing that I am really big on, and those of you guys that are in my Teaching by Design program know, is that I am huge on getting children to actually fall in love with reading. If you can get a child to want to read by themselves, then their buy-in has already been made, and then it's our jobs to just increase their reading skills. So independent reading develops that time and gives them the confidence that they need in the reading process. It also helps develop vocabulary and language skills. It has been proven, research based, that in this time children are able to actually practice. They're able to literally practice the skills that they've learned in small group or in whole group instruction. So that kind of piggybacks to the next point, which it allows you the opportunity to apply reading skills and strategies. So for example, if you have just taught a decoding strategy during your small group instruction, then during independent reading time, children are able to practice the exact same strategy on their own. You guys ever heard of practice makes perfect, or riding a bike? Children reading is the same way, and children have to have that time and opportunity to literally practice the skill in order to perfect it. So it's the same thing. Reading is no different than riding a bus. So once again, let me know if you already have a system in place for independent reading. Is there something you already have in place? Is there a designated time? Do you do it during small group? Do you do it in the morning? Do you have a designated time for independent reading? So let me know that down below. All right, so now that we've covered what independent reading is and why it's important, let's look at the data, because the data will shock you. It has completely shocked me. And y'all know I love pulling together some facts. All right, so the PW Research Center back in 2020 did an entire study of children reading independently and if they were actually excited to read or if they just read for fun in the first place. So if this information just completely was mind-boggling, especially for those of us that teach children that are African Americans. A lot of my community here look like me. We have been, in the same kind of settings. But the data showing that our children really do not read for fun. In fact, compared to other ethnicities, you'll see that African Americans actually read the less amount for fun. And this data was the same both in 2012 and in 2020. So, what does this mean? This literally means out of all the ethnicities, our children are less likely to read on their own for fun. They're not reading, and that's across the board between that was, for the 9-year olds. Now it does change when you look at 13-year olds. Actually, Hispanics, as you see, they kind of drop off, and they become the least amount. But it's just mind-boggling if you look at, African Americans versus the other races. So already our children don't like to read. I mean, this is the data that we just simply don't like to read. Because you said yes, you have a system set in place perfect during small group time. I want to piggyback on that. If you have a time already, like you do, then do you give any stipulations during that time? Like, are children required to read their certain book? I know a lot of teachers make their children read their independent book, or not the independent book, but the same book that they read during small group, they then go read it independently, or they have certain parameters. So let me know, do you have certain parameters in which children read independently? So if you do have a system, do you have parameters set in place? Because what I'm about to say may change up how your system is already set up. Or maybe you get your confirmation and say, hey, I'm doing this right, and woo, I'm excited for that. So either way, hey, Bonnie. All right, so let's now that we looked at the data between African Americans and other ethnicities, it's important to now look at gender. There's actually a part of the same study back in 2020. It was drastically show that there's a major difference in between girls reading for fun and boys reading for fun. In fact, American girls are more likely to read for fun than their male counterparts. So, this literally means that if you have an African American boy, not only are they in the ethnicity that does not like reading for fun, but they are also in the gender part that doesn't like reading for fun. So it's important that you understand the odds that you are facing, the odds that you are coming against when you try to get children to actually want to read. Also, you notice that even, where girls like to read more than boys for fun, it has still dramatically decreased from 1984 to 2020. So what does this mean? This means that over time our children are less likely to read for fun. Even though girls will read for fun more than, boys will, the number of children that are actually wanting to read is decreasing. And some could say maybe that has to do with, technology or so forth. But there's a huge impact between reading and vocabulary skills. So if we're wanting children to actually gain insight on vocabulary skills, then we need to find a way for them to actually want to read. We have to figure out a way for children to be motivated to read. And I'm not going to go in depth with this one, but I definitely wanted to include this as well. In the same study, even the number of children that went from reading almost every day has dramatically decreased from 1984 to 2020. And as children get older, they're less likely to read. Y'all let me know down below in the chat comments. Is this you? Because this was definitely me. I remember like it was yesterday. Back in elementary school, everywhere I went, I had a book in my hand. And when I went to the restaurants, I would go to Old Charlie's, Red Lobster. Back in those days, kids ate free like half the day. So it seemed like, but everywhere I went, I had a book in my hand. Everywhere I went, I had a book in my hand. And then right around in middle school, right around during popcorn reading time and all of those other horrible reading best practices, I began to hate, I mean, like, hate reading. And so I can definitely see myself in this data that I went from reading almost every day to barely reading at all. And so this is interesting to see that if kids don't really form the love for reading, that over time that will naturally kind of die off. According to the data, that love for reading kind of dies off. So we have a gap, we have a massive gap. Our children, one, they're not reading, they don't like reading, they hate reading, or they're anxious about reading. We see that even our ethnicities, with African Americans, read less than any other ethnicity out there. And we're facing these odds that are against us. And kids are literally beginning to hate to read. You can ask your children. I challenge you to just ask them who likes to read for fun. And if they raise their hand, great. Now then ask them who actually does read on the weekends. Just ask. Just ask. Do they pick up a book and read on their own on the weekend? Just ask. Just ask. It's interesting to see what children actually say yes, if they like it, if they don't. And if they don't know that this is the gap that you have to now bridge. You have to get them from hating reading to loving to read. And so this is the gap that we are faced against. This is the gap that we are coming up against. So continue to really dive in, into, okay, how do we get children to just like independent reading? I'm not talking about all the other aspects of reading on today's challenge. We are only talking about independent reading today. Make sure you tune in every single day this week at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because every day we're going to hit a different aspect of reading. But today is simply talking about getting children to want to read independently on their own. So I love this fact by Fontes and Pinnell. It is a quote. Now I said fact, but it's a quote from Fontes and Pinnell that I absolutely love. And it says, a key factor of independent reading is choice. Choice. The key thing to getting children to actually want to read is choice. What does that tell us? That tells us that in order to get children to want to read, we have to allow them to feel like they are making a choice to read, or they have a choice of reading what they want to read, right? We want them to feel like they are in charge. So I'm telling y'all, man, I'm telling you the key, right? The key is right here. In order to get children to actually want to read, you have to create an environment that they are choosing. They have to be able to choose what it is they want to read. So I would absolutely love to share with you how you can actually do this effectively, because our question then becomes, well, how do we encourage children to choose books? All right, if you're telling me, Aja, that they need choice, well, how do I get them to choose a book? You can make. Oh, I know Keisha said earlier, she does small group. You can create a time for them to do it. But if you don't have a system in place for them to actually choose a book, then 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to play or dread independent reading. We have to get children to actually want to choose a book. So we have to teach them that's not something that naturally is formed. Children don't just naturally wake up and say, I want to read a book today. I want to choose a good book to read. Think about it. We just covered the odds. 9 times out of 10, we are up against odds that encourage them not to read. Technology is, I mean, full throttle around them. Why sit and read a book when I could watch the movie? Hello, where are all my movie lovers at? So our challenge then becomes creating an environment that encourages choice. We have to create an environment that allows children to actually choose books. And one thing, I'm going to give y'all a freebie. Here we go. One way you can do this is through the use of posters. So this is one of my posters that I use, and it's, you really have to find posters that encourage children to choose leveled books that fit their need. So this is one of the ones that I have, and it literally says pick a book that's just right. So this poster encourages children to pick a book that interests them, right? That is also on their level. So you're trying to make them find a book that they like, that fits their interest and that is also on their level. So we have to teach them how to do that. And so one way is through the use of posters. So with this poster in particularly, the P stands for, so what a child would do, let me set the scene. What a child would do is they would go to your independent reading area. Hopefully you have a level library. If not, I have a whole classroom setup video where I talk about how to set up your leveled library. So we're not going over that in this particular video, but I do have that entire classroom setup. So if you haven't already watched that, it's in the form of a vlog, but I teach you exactly how to do a level library. And I know a lot of people are going from level library to like a library based on decodable readers, which is perfectly fine. The system is pretty much the same thing. You're just going from levels to actually skills. All right, so what a child would do, right? They would choose a book. Let's say they went and grabbed this book. Now they're going to answer each one of the questions. So in order to pick a book that's just right, they're going to say, does this book fit the purpose for reading? So that's the P. The P is purpose. If you didn't give me any parameters, let's say you told me to just go in the reading center and just independently read. Y'all remember drop everything and read? Dear, was it? Yeah, dear, drop everything and read. But if you just told me to do that, then I could say, does this fit my interest? Well, I'm just reading for fun and I like the picture. So, yep, it fits the purpose for reading. She said I had to read for fun. Now, if you said go in the reading center and find a nonfiction book, I want you to choose a nonfiction book to read, then this wouldn't fit my purpose. So I would put it back and find another book. So if the answer is no to any of these, they have to find another book. All right, so let's say they say yes, this book fits my purpose. Then they're going to go to I. Does this book interest me? If a child is not interested in it, they are not about to read it, period. So you want to get children to actually learn how to read, you have to have literally different authors with different illustrators. You really have to have a plethora of options for them to choose from so that they can find a book that interests them. 9 times out of 10, especially if you're dealing with younger students, the interest is strictly based on the pictures on the front cover. I'm just being real. The topic and the pictures. For older children, for upper elementary, they can still go based on the front cover, but a lot of upper elementary are going to go based more on the topic or the title. Like for some children, they like mystery books. For some children, there might be a certain author that they fell in love with, and then they want to read everything that author has to offer. All right. So then the next question that they would ask is, do I? Uh oh. There we go. Do I comprehend what I'm reading? So let me just explain before C and K really quick. So I'm going to say it and then show you what I mean. All right. So C is, do I comprehend what I'm reading? And K, do I know the words and make 1 to 5 errors per page? So you're going to teach children to do P. Does it fit my purpose? And does it interest me? P and I, right? They can answer that simply by looking at the front cover. Then you're going to want to teach them how to just open the book to any random page, and only read that page. So, I mean, this is a lullaby book, but they're just going to read that page and then answer, do I comprehend what I'm reading? And do I make 1 to 5 mistakes? If they make zero mistakes, meaning they just read the whole Sleep Baby Sleep book without any hesitation, then the book is probably too easy. So if they don't make any mistakes, it's too easy. If they make more than 5 errors or mistakes while reading, then the book is too complicated. And so you literally would teach them that, and that strategy right there will get children excited about choosing books. Remember, Fontes and Pinnell stated that the key to getting children to actually want to read is choice. So with that, you're setting the parameters of how to choose a book, because what normally happens, especially to our struggling readers. This is why struggling readers hate reading. Do I have anybody that teaches struggling readers? Maybe I have a classroom full of below level students. Y'all let me know. But I know a lot of us, I deal with children that are below reading levels. I mean, that's just the norm, especially if you are teaching in a rural area or even a Title I school. So now we are faced against the problem with struggling readers because struggling readers hate reading independently. Why? Because this is the problem with them. What they find that interests them, if you don't give them parameters of how to choose a good book, then they go and they find these books. They look at what other students are reading. They're like, "Ooh, they're reading that book on cars." And so then they get the book. And then guess what? It's too difficult for them. And they spend all their time frustrated. And then, instead of trying to find a new book, they just end up hating to read completely. They absolutely hate reading time, independent reading, and then they just kind of fall back completely. So you want to put a system in place to get children to actually want to read before they even experience this hardship, so that this way you'll actually be encouraging struggling readers to read independently before you even start the school year or get too deep into your school year. You're already setting up the parameters. All right, we have a question. How do we get kids excited to browse books in pre-K? Great question. Great question. Really works the same. The only difference is the K part. So and I even do the same with my daughter because she's that same age group. She's in pre-K. She's in pre-K, but they will still do the same thing. They would choose a book. Does it fit my purpose? And you can actually set parameters. Like if you were studying, animals, maybe you give them a challenge. Why don't you go find a book on animals? So they will still like, well, does it fit my purpose? Does it interest me? Just like before, they're gonna look at the pictures. I mean, let's be real. They're looking at the pictures. They're gonna look at the pictures, and then you can still ask, do they comprehend? Now they're probably not going to know the word comprehend, but you would literally teach them, do you understand what you're reading? They can't read. They're looking at the pictures in order to determine. So they're going to say, yeah. You're going to teach them more pre-reading strategies, but they're going to literally come in here and be able to tell the story strictly based on the pictures. And then as you continue, what you'll notice with and this is one thing I love about my program. But every time I deal with children that deal with pre-reading strategies, as you are doing your read alouds and as you are modeling reading, you'll see them start to replicate that when they're reading on their own. So you still do the same thing. They just don't have the 1 to 5 words per page because they're not reading, but you still teach them that. You're still setting that foundation and the system in place. The only difference is they're not reading, but they can still comprehend the book based on the pictures. And you'll encourage them, as instead of reading the words, use your tracking finger, but I want you to tell the story. So tell a story based on this page. And they'll tell you it based on, the pictures that they see in the page. All right, you said your class. Okay, so your class is full of struggling readers, rural and Title I. Okay, they're proficient in math, but hate reading. Oh, we see that all the time, all the time. Almost everyone is below or extremely below grade level. Oh, you are in the perfect place, Keisha. I am talking to you, girl. Because that's literally why I'm here. I've seen that happen over and over and over again because we really do. We begin to hate reading. So one tip I can tell you is when you're dealing with struggling readers, you're wanting them to actually find books that they like, right? When you're actually wanting them to want to read on their own, you're gonna really focus on two things: the topic and the text level. Those are the most important things to get a struggling reader to actually read independently. Everything I've said thus far, perfect for kids that are motivated to read, but with struggling readers, they typically don't like reading in the first place because the decoding, they're spending so much time decoding, they really can't comprehend, and they go through all of that, right? So you want to focus on the topic and the text level. Make sure that you have books that are on topics that children are interested in. I mean, I don't know if that's self explanatory, but make sure that you offer books, or at least try to offer as much as you possibly can, books that are on topics that kids like. Typically, and I know I teach this in my program, we go over different topics, but I can give y'all a few. Typically, girls, they're gonna like things about princesses. They're gonna like things about school. Believe it or not, girls like things about school, and girls like things about households. Boys are so easy. Trucks, cars, anything transportation, superheroes, anything like that. You can sci-fi. So those are just some of the topics that boys like. So when you pair up a topic with actual text level, so Keisha, you stated your entire class is below reading level. So that means you're going to have to find books that are below reading level on these topics, and make sure that you let the kids know, like, hey, I'm putting this new superhero book over here in the reading center. And they're gonna be, oh, and if you really want to get a child's buy-in, you all you have to do is act like you're excited. You can make up a story, girl. Make up a story. But you can like literally make up a story and say, oh my goodness, I found this book and I fought at the store for it because it was the only book about superheroes. And I could not wait to read it. And when I read it, I was so shocked at the ending, but I can't tell you guys the ending. So if you want to read this book, then I'm putting it right here in the independent reading area. Guess what they're gonna want to, all the boys at least, want to do when they go to the independent reading area? Read that book to figure out the ending. So then they can run to you and say, hey, I read the book. I loved the ending too. And you don't even have to read the book. You could just set them up for success by saying that. But you're gonna want to find books on those type of topics, general topics that children like based on their gender, and then just let you know now, and you may have a principal that might come in. I'm just being realistic. They're gonna come in your room, go into your independent reading area, and say, "Hey, Keisha, girl, you teach fourth grade, and why do you have a second grade book on superheroes?" And you can literally state, "Well, during the independent area, I had to get books that are." On their independent reading levels that interest them, and this will motivate them to want to read. This gives my children the buy-in. You have the whole background for it. Bam. And I guarantee your administrator's gonna be like, oh, okay. So she knows what she's doing, and that's literally what I did. Even teaching Title I students that hated reading, I had to find things that they like on their level, so that you're not fighting against them. You're kind of going with the path, because struggling readers are all about the topic and the text level. Even if it's just on superheroes, if that book is too advanced, they're gonna try to read it, but 9 times out of 10 they are going to push back. So just like we went over the pick acronym, y'all know we always like an acronym. I don't understand what is going on with teachers and acronyms, but have another poster that is really good for struggling readers as well. And this is a poster that encourages children to choose level books based on topics that they enjoy. So remember, struggling reader is all about topic and text level. So with this strategy, with this independent poster, getting them to try to choose, it is strictly based on topic and what am I trying to topic and text level. So what they would do is figure out, do I like the book? Really simple. Do I like this book? So they're going to do the same thing as before. They're going to find a book. Once they have their book, they're going to go through these same series of questions. If they get a no, they have to find another book and put this back. And you might have children that, for example, if the superhero book, that might go get the book, and even if it's too hard, they make more than 5 errors, they're still going to want to read it, and that's okay. Remember, the key is to get them to actually make the choice to read. So independent reading, the key to get them to actually want to read is giving them the choice. So with this poster, it says, L, is this book on my level? So they immediately start off figuring out, is this book on their level? Because remember, if the book is too hard, then they're going to have that pushback. They're struggling readers. They're going to actually hate reading it, and 9 times out of 10, what are they going to do? Stop reading. They're going to stop reading it right there. So that's why with this strategy, we are starting off with, is this book on my level? The I is, does this book interest me, or do I like the topic? They have to like the topic. So you notice that with this one, the L and the I already knock out the objections. So L and I knocks out all objections from you from the get-go. So you know that as they go to the independent reading area, we're going to find a book that interests them. Hey, hi Charlotte. Welcome, welcome. Let us know, what do you teach? Even if you're homeschool parent, what age level is your child? All right, so then there's the K, which is, do I know about this topic? This is important because it goes over background knowledge. When you're dealing with struggling readers, remember, there's a lot that goes on in their brain. They have to really remember their decoding strategies. They're trying to remember their comprehension strategies, and they have a lot that they are trying to remember just to read the book, unlike other students. So when you're dealing with struggling readers, you have to put yourself in their mindset that literally their brain is doing about 100 things all at one time. So they're like, oh my goodness, I have to remember how to do this strategy. Or if you're doing science of reading, then they're having to do syllable division or BCR and this word, and they're doing all of that going on in their heads. So background knowledge, if they understand or know about a topic already, that just makes them feel more comfortable with the book because they're not having to comprehend so much at the same time. So, for example, if I've never heard of an alien, I don't know anything about an alien, and I pick up a book about an alien, then I don't know the topic. So if I'm already a struggling reader, then I'm probably more times out of 10 gonna hate the book because I'm not coming to the table with any background knowledge. So with this is really, remember, we're trying to get kids to want to read. That is the goal, to get them to actually want to read. So having that important question, do I know about this topic, already makes them find a book that they're more likely to actually complete. They're going to find a book that they already know about. If you have a kid that loves sci-fi, that loves aliens, he already coming like, oh, I already know about this topic, and they're going to be more likely to finish the book and actually fall in love with that book because they're wanting them to actually read on their own. And then the last one is just like before, E, do I make 1 to 5 errors per page? And just like with the pick strategy, they're just going to flip open a book, and as they flip open that book, they're going to read just 1 page. If they don't make any errors, then the book is too easy. If they make more than 5 errors, then it's probably too difficult. Now you can teach them, they can still read the book, but just know if it's more than 5 errors, then it will be challenging for them. And so then that just really gets them to feel motivated to want to read. All right, Charlotte says she did pre-K for 7 years and now kindergarten her first year. Whoop, whoop. Welcome to kindergarten. I love teaching pre-K. I went from pre-K to 5th grade overnight, literally overnight. So I imagine the transition for you is a lot less stressful than it was for me. But welcome to kindergarten. Do you like it? Are you liking kindergarten for this school year? I don't know if you've started already. Let me know. But I know most of everybody, at least here in the United States, have started. You say you love pre-K. Ooh, man, I love my baby's in pre-K now, and I'm like, oh, I've already went to the school volunteering. I'm like, I love this age group. So welcome. He said, hey, Aja, thanks for being such a great resource. Oh, you're welcome. Trying to get your first grader on track to read. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you. So yes, you are in the right place, the perfect place. And I'm so excited that you're able to join. Hopefully you guys will be here all week. I have amazing goodies as I help you manage your classroom, just how to set your classroom up for success. Even if you're at home is still a classroom. Hello. I have my whole little at home classroom downstairs. I know I did that vlog. So yeah, she said, so far you love kindergarten. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so I want to be able to help you even more. Not only are we doing this entire week of this entire 5-day challenge, I encourage you to bring a friend tomorrow. Say, hey man, come on, I did this awesome challenge. Come and join me. But I want you to have the best school year that you've ever had. Has this been you in the past? Have you ever felt overwhelmed? Hello, where are my overwhelmed teachers? Have you ever, you guys know it comes every school year, nonstop. There are multiple times of the year that you are just stressed and overwhelmed. Well, or you may feel burnt out. Hello, have I had anybody that feels burned out? You know that every year you reach this point in your school year where you just feel like you're just existing. You feel like you're existing, you feel like you're lost, you feel like you're overwhelmed, you feel burned out, you are over it. It happens every single school year. Maybe you have already hit that place already. We hadn't even been in school for a month. Hello. But maybe you have already hit that place. Well, I want to encourage you and I want you to imagine having a bank of lessons that are already optimized for engagement that get children to actually fall in love with reading. That is the goal, getting them to actually fall in love with reading. Imagine having a weekly lesson planning system that saves you hours of planning each and every week. Imagine having schedules, routines, transitions, and management tools allowing you to be stress free. Imagine having simplicity and clarity on what to teach, when to teach, and how to teach. And imagine having reading professional development at your fingertips. I know if you guys enjoy this 5-day challenge, and you're absolutely going to love what I have for you. And imagine having high reading growth in your students and they're actually surpassing their goals. And more importantly, imagine being supported along the way by a professional. Well, I want to invite you to my up and coming workshop, The 3 Secrets to Teaching Reading with Ease. This is completely has you in mind to help you prevent burnout this year so that this will be the best year you've had yet, so that you are not burned out, so that you're literally hitting goals that you have only thought were make believe in the past. You look at other teachers and you're like, how do they do that? Well, in this free workshop, it is completely free. Just like this challenge is free, the workshop is free as well. And I'll be going over what everyone gets wrong about teaching reading and what to do instead. I'll talk about the game shifting mind shift that will allow you to have your reading instruction run on autopilot. We'll be going over how to reimagine what's possible with so much new free time because you have a system that actually works. And we'll go over the one step you can implement to achieve high growth while working less. This workshop is coming up next week, September 19th. Save your spot. It is a free workshop, doesn't cost you a thing. I'm just asking for a little bit of your time. And the posters I shared on today are yours for free just by coming to the workshop. So you do have to sign up for the workshop because it is a private event that will be held on Zoom. So if you sign up for it for free, then the posters that we went over today are yours. I know I shared with you the overview, but they do have more parts to it. For example, the like poster that we talked about for struggling readers has the L-I-K and E. And then of course, if you're teaching, lower grades and they're not reading, then you could just like put a star on the E. So those are yours for free. In fact, when you join the workshop, you'll be given a welcome email. And at the bottom of the email, you have the link for all of the goodies that we'll be going over this week. So make sure you guys are here every single day this week. Invite a friend. Today we went over how to get children actually wanting to read. Tomorrow we will be talking about how to increase vocabulary skills by creating a print-rich environment. Make sure you're there, even if you teach upper elementary, you are going to be amazed at how much this actually applies to you. For some unknown reason, there is a huge myth out there that a print-rich environment only deals with lower grades or early literacy. I mean, it is a huge part of early literacy, but it is just as important with fourth and fifth graders as it is with 3 and 4 year olds. Hello. And then also we have how to get children excited to read. And you might be saying, well, what's the difference? Well, Wednesday we're talking about motivating kids to read. Today we only talked about the independent reading aspect. So they are two different things. So make sure that you come. We were talking about struggling readers hating to read. Well, Wednesday we will go over how to get them motivated to read. Thursday is how to set up your classroom for guided practice. That is the small group instruction time. I know Keisha said I see her yay in the chat box. Keisha said she already has her small group set up. So make sure you come. Like I stated, you're either going to get the confirmation that you are on track, or you're going to say, let me change some things up a little bit. Remember, this week is all about preparing for success in teaching reading. And then on Friday, we'll be going over how to create a data-driven classroom. Remember, even if you're a homeschool parent, you are still creating a data-driven classroom. So I cannot wait to see you guys all week long. It's a party. It's a party. It's a party. You say you're on here on Half of Bonnie. Woo! She always tells me that she has all these amazing friends. So I am so glad to see you, Charlotte. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you. So like I stated, in order to get the free posters, make sure you attend and sign up for the free workshop. It is coming up Monday, September 19th at 7 o'clock p.m. In fact, all of these trainings are going to be 7 o'clock p.m., so you don't have to worry about what time it is. This is 7 o'clock p.m. Hello. So once you sign up for the workshop, you will get access to that. The workshop is discovering the secrets to getting your reading instruction to run on autopilot so that you can teach with ease. It's time to spend time on what truly matters to you. So what are your next steps? Sign up for the workshop, of course. Just sign up for the workshop. I have the link in the live chat box and is also in the description to sign up for the workshop and to get your posters. And then your next step is to use the posters. Post them up in your small group area, not small group area, but your independent reading area. Hopefully you have some sort of area in your classroom, like I stated. If you have not seen the, and I can put the link to that down below. If you haven't seen my classroom setup video, then definitely I'm putting the link to that right now. That will help you understand what I'm talking about, especially if you are a new teacher. So classroom setup. There we go. I put the link to that below for you to watch it after this. And I put setup as 2 words. I know it's 1 word. I'm sorry. I was trying to do it quick for y'all. But in that video, I talk about setting up your independent area, setting up your small group area, kind of how to lay out your classroom. So check out that video and then put your posters up in your independent reading area. Laminate them and they're yours. They're free. All you have to do is come chill with me again for free and you get goodies. What? Who wouldn't like that? I will see you tomorrow. And remember to invite a friend to join you on this 5-day challenge. Tell them if and if you got value out of this, definitely hit that like button, like right there. It's a little like button, thumbs up button. Hit that like button and then share this with them and tell them to, hey, catch up on this challenge is good. Let's set up our classroom, girl. So grab your freebies, save your spots. Spots are limited in the workshop. It is a very intimate workshop. So definitely grab your spot. You say you're so excited for print rich environment class. Oh, whoop, whoop, whoop. Yes, so I'll see you tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. And if y'all have any questions at all, drop them down below. Even if you're watching the replay, drop your questions and I'll answer them. If you're watching, a replay or anything, or something comes up, for those of you guys that are watching live, I greatly appreciate it. But if something comes up and you're like, hey, I have this question, just drop it down in the chat box and then I will cover it tomorrow in tomorrow's live. All right. Well, I think I've said it all. So what do you got to do now? Sign up for that workshop. Sign up for the workshop. Grab your free posters, and I'll see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And if you haven't seen that classroom setup video, watch that so you know kind of just how to set up your classroom. If not, it's a confirmation that you are on the right track. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Love y'all.